Today we're going to speak about something very serious that a lot of people think about and dwell on. Can God really forget and forgive of something that I did in my past? Something that I feel so guilty about I couldn't even tell my wife or my husband or my children. I never even told my parents about this. I can't even forgive myself. It eats me up inside. And someday, I'm going to have to meet my Creator. And I fear that when I meet with Him, He's going to remember this. Brothers and sisters, I hope that this will heal your fears, heal your wounds. I'm going to read to you the words of Elohim from God Himself about this subject. What I would like you all to do, what I would love you all to do, is to study Ezekiel Chapter 18. Study it carefully. The whole chapter is dealing with what I'm going to be talking about in this presentation. Ezekiel 18, read the whole chapter more than once, twice, 3 times. Mark it down, read it over and over, and meditate and ponder on the words of our living God. I'm going to read a few passages from the book of Ezekiel chapter 18. Let's take a look. Starting in verse 20. The person who sins, he alone shall die. A child shall not bear the burden of the parent's guilt, nor shall the parent bear the burden of the child's guilt. The righteousness of the righteous shall be accounted to him alone, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be accounted to him alone, or her alone, for my sisters watching. Moreover, if the wicked one repents of all the sins that he or she committed, listen carefully, listen very carefully. If the wicked one, this is verse 21, if the wicked one repents of all the sins that he or she has committed and keeps my laws and does what is just and right, he or she shall live. He shall not die. None of the transgressions or sins he or she committed shall be remembered against him or her. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to read it again. None of the transgressions he or she committed shall be remembered against him or her. Period. Because of the righteousness he or she has practiced, he shall live. God asks a question now. Is it my desire that the wicked person should die? It's a question. Do you think that I, God, want the wicked person to die? To suffer and die? Says Yehovah, our Elohim. It is rather that he shall turn back from his ways and live. Meaning he would rather us turn from our evil ways and live. The fact of the matter is that we read here that God says, if you turn from doing those wicked things, those evil deeds, God says that I will not only forgive, we've heard the term, forgive and forget. We as humans tend to forgive, but not forget. We might even forgive someone who did something horrible to us, but we don't forget. We'll always look at that person differently because they did something wrong, and sometimes for good reason. But what God is saying here is if you truly have changed and you don't do what you used to do and you really have changed sincerely, he not only forgives, but he forgets. When you meet your Creator, you're going to say, God, I stand before you and I know that something that I did in 1980 or 1970, whatever the case may be, whatever you can think of in your mind and what you're dwelling about, you say, God, I know what you're going to say about it. He's going to say, stop, my son. Stop, my daughter. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know what you're talking about. What? You turned from your sin. You chose the path of righteousness. You changed your ways. Therefore, I don't know what you're talking about. I've forgotten all about it. Forgotten. Forgive and forget. This is exactly what Ezekiel Chapter 18 says. The words of God. None of the transgressions shall be remembered against him or her. Period. So therefore, forgiveness and forgetting is what God is saying. Does he expect us to be perfect? No. Proverbs chapter 24, verse 16 states, listen carefully, this is so beautiful. The Tanakh says in Proverbs chapter 24, verse 16, says, the righteous man or woman, for my sisters, the righteous person is one who falls down 7 times and gets back up. Do you understand what that means? The righteous person, good person, is someone who falls 7 times but gets back up. These are the words of the living creator of all things. He is merciful. He does forgive. In Isaiah chapter 55, he states, for my thoughts are not like your thoughts, and my ways are higher than your ways. I don't think like you. I'm not like your brother or your sister who fought with you over a will. I'm not like your ex-wife or your ex-husband. I'm God. I'm not a human being. I'm not a man. Numbers chapter 23, verse 19. Brothers and sisters, I hope that you will study Ezekiel chapter 18, the whole chapter, for yourselves. It will encourage you and heal you. Shalom.